What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Martial Arts Monday review. And this week we're going to take a look at, I think, probably one of the most entertaining and fun films in any of these Shawscope sets. My Young Auntie, directed by Kara Hui from 1981, starring the lovely Kara Hui. This is probably the most accessible film in any of these sets for casual fans. In other words, if you're a fan of Kung Fu, you're going to enjoy it. If you have a friend, a partner, a significant other who's not necessarily into Kung Fu films, but just want to sit back and have 90 minutes of entertaining fun, this is your film. This is a very solid film throughout with a lot of comedic elements. The comedy in this is very solid throughout. It's not uneven. A lot of these films, you'll go from like bloodshed to a comedy, back to bloodshed. This is not that kind of film. I don't know if there's a drop of blood in this film. It's not for lack of trying, however, but we'll get to that because there's a certain character that makes that sort of impossible, but we'll get to that in a few moments. This is just a fun one. This is really, the thing about this film, it's a very original idea. This is co-written by Kara Hui, who also stars in it. As I said, he directed it, and of course he did the martial arts choreography. You don't have to have any deep knowledge of Kung Fu films or Chinese history. They're not really referencing other films too heavily. I mean, there's some small things. At one point, Kara Hui dresses up like a swordswoman character, all in black with a sword slung on her back with a tassel, reminiscent of other heroines from other films, but you don't really need to know that to appreciate it. And there are some sort of in-jokes with languages, because the Shang Ho character in this has come back from college in Hong Kong, where he has adopted some Western ways, and he's speaking a mixture of English and Cantonese, and there's some mistranslations apparently. When you pronounce his name Charlie phonetically, it sounds like stinking carp in Cantonese. So there's a funny bit where Kara Hui says, "Your name is Stinking Carp." She plays a country girl, a young innocent girl who is actually working for a family where the patriarch is knocking on death's door, and he's worried that his evil younger brother is going to inherit his estate and his fortune. And of course, the evil younger brother is played by Johnny Wang Long-Wei, of course. I mean, you can't have one of these movies if he's not playing an evil character. And man, he just has this thing about him. He's not like a mustache twirling evil guy. He's just kind of like a jerky evil guy, But yeah, he wants the fortune, so she agrees to marry this old man, much older than her, right? Just to keep the fortune and then to bring it to his younger brother, played by Kara Hui, who's supposed to be, I think, about 50 in the film, and later on we meet some more family members too. We're all sort of getting up there in years. So he passes away. She takes the deed to the house and everything, the whole fortune, and she has agreed to meet him on the docks. And it's a beautifully shot scene, really good cinematography. By this time, Kara Hui had directed a lot of films, and he's working with a really experienced crew. He's supposed to recognize her by a medallion or something that she has, and he's looking for an older woman, because he thinks that this woman married his uncle, or his older brother, I think. I guess it'll be his uncle. Yeah, his older uncle, aunt, right? No, I guess it would be his older brother, because My Young Auntie refers to his son Xiao Ho's relationship with this woman. Okay. Whew. Anyway, after a little mix-up, they meet each other. He's in disbelief that this could be his son's aunt, right? His sister-in-law. And they have a little scuffle. She has a little scuffle with a rickshaw driver where she barely breaks a sweat. And she's like, wow, this woman's something else. She kind of attracts a crowd. They go back to his place. He goes out. Then the son comes home from college. Now, he's been studying English in Hong Kong. He's coming back with a bunch of his college friends. They've got like a guitar, and they're wearing Western clothes and speaking a little English. And he sees this young lady in his house, and they end up getting into a scuffle. And she says, "I'm your aunt." And of course, he doesn't believe her because they're like the same age. And at one point, he starts bobbing and weaving, and she looks at him. He goes, Western boxing, So he definitely has some different ideas. And then Kara Hui's character gets back. He's pretty upset because they destroyed the house and all his traditional relics and things. So eventually he sort of scolds them, explains the situation. Xiao Ho and his aunt, who played by Kara Hui, is the same age as him. They go into town, and it's actually a really cool set because it looks more like a westernized Main Street than you typically see in these Shaw Brothers films, with a barber pole and there's an automobile there, and some of the characters have never seen an automobile before. And she goes into a dress shop where they have a mixture of like, you know, they have more modern dresses and things, and she ends up buying this beautiful white number. So if you like costumes and clothes and dress up and pretty dresses, this is your movie. So she wears this really nice looking white dress here. And then she gets into a scuffle with some people on the street, and it's kind of cute because she doesn't realize that it's like slit up both sides. And as she's kicking people, you know, she's revealing more leg than she's ever revealed before because she's comes from a modest background, so she gets pretty embarrassed about it, but she still ends up kicking all kinds of butt. Then they go to a costume party. She's dressed up as Little Bo Peep. He's dressed up like Robin Hood, the uncle. I mean, her brother-in-law, Xiaoho's father, of course, stays home. He's too old for that kind of stuff. He's more traditional. And they get into a fight with some guys that are dressed up as the Three Musketeers, complete with swords. Very entertaining stuff. They end up getting taken into jail for questioning. The Lar Lung character comes to bail them out. Meanwhile, the evil brother comes into the house, breaks in, steals the deed and all the documents and everything, takes it back to his place, which is kind of like, not quite a fortress, but it's a formidable place to break into, complete with booby traps and scarecrows, like straw men that pop up and spin around. There's spears that'll shoot out from all kinds of different places, you can't step on different rocks in the yard because you'll get some arrows and spears heading your way. So the older relatives sort of assemble. Xiaoho ends up training them a little bit. They're all very skilled in martial arts, which comes in handy for the climax when they're going to come back. But their cardio is a little off since they're getting up there in years. So there's some pretty funny training sequences there. Eventually, they try to make like a frontal assault on this evil brother's place to get the deed back. They have to do it twice because the first time doesn't quite work. Somebody gets taken prisoner. I won't really go into details, but she wears, like I said, a traditional like swordswoman outfit. He wears like an army uniform, like from the Korean War era, complete with steel helmet, which is kind of funny. So it's that kind of movie, and it's kind of cute because at one point, somebody steps on a booby trap. He ducks, and a wooden bamboo spear hits him in the helmet and splinters apart, but she's worried that he's hurt. So she grabs him, but then she pretends like she doesn't care since they have this sort of antagonistic relationship. And then another time, some booby traps go off and they grab each other, and then the same thing. She's like, oh, get your hands off me. But they really do have a little bit of affection for each other. And essentially at the end, they have to go up against the villain, all his henchmen, and they bring in the older relatives as well. And one of the henchmen, just to put a wrinkle into it, is played by an actor named Best Kwan Young Moon, a Korean actor. This guy is a Qigong master, okay? So the bad guy's brought in as Qigong master, which means swords and knives, bladed weapons don't penetrate his skin. So, like I said, it's not it's bloodless, partially because the one guy is impervious to bladed weapons. So that's pretty entertaining. And this guy's ripped. I mean, he almost looks like a guy who would be impervious to swords and knives. And he has been in a bunch of other films as well. Kill the Ninja, Ninja in the Dragon's Den, Fearless Hyena Part 2, Duel to the Death he was in. That's a great one. So yeah, he cuts a pretty formidable opponent for our heroes. Just lots of acrobatic action, lots of fantastic sort of set piece, martial arts film, fights, lots of comedy elements. Just a solid film all around. Tons of fun. They would next collaborate on a film called The Lady is the Boss. Okay, now I don't have that. And I'm pretty sure if I go out of my way to get it, by the time they get it, they might announce a Shawscope Volume 4, and it might be in there. So I don't know what to do, but I'm really going to try to get a hold of that one because I'm very intrigued. And like I said, this is just tons of fun. If you're just a fan of having a good time for 90 minutes, this is the film for you. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And come back again next time for another Martial Arts Monday review. Thanks.